The 25th year of Caesar gets underway with this 2004 Valentine's Day Parade.
You know, and it's perfect. The theme of this year's parade is meant for each other. So that's kind of perfect. And they're going to have famous pairs tonight. Kermit and Miss Piggy, Minnie and Mickey and things like that. SpongeBob and his buddy Patrick. Famous pairs all throughout this parade. 29 floats, correct myself there, 29 floats. Big, colossal parade tonight.
And it's special to have a parade during Mardi Gras season that falls on Valentine's Day.
Yeah, it is, you know, and tonight it's a little chilly, so you got to kind of rub up next to your loved ones there and get cozy. And but it's a great way to spend a family Valentine's Day out here on Veterans. And the crew of Caesar, what a wonderful, wonderful parade they put on every year. The largest crew in Jefferson Parish history, been parading since 1979.
I am excited about the 29 floats that Bob Cornisi has lined up in this parade.
Oh yeah, and the signature float that they're introducing this year is called the Three-Headed Hydra, and of course 75 people on that, so it's huge. It's, you know, it's just like the Super Cruise have out there. Lots of fiber optics, and we're not, you know, we haven't had a glimpse of it yet, so that'll be coming up. We're not sure what it's going to entail, but we know it's one of those big long things with lots of people and just spectacular.
We've heard some people coming down the parade route talking about it, very excited about it. We can't wait to show it to you.
All right, this is the City of Gonzales mounted posse, and sort of keeping with the tradition of an all-inclusive carnival crew, which Caesar is. The mounted posse was organized in 1974. These 20 commissioned deputies represent the City of Gonzales, which is in Ascension Parish. The posse is led by Captain Vernon J. Gautreaux. And again, City of Gonzales mounted posse. And of course, we're seeing some of the
treasure chest car.
The treasure chest car. And the Farhad Grotto Bug Patrol here too.
Yeah, the Farhad Grotto Bug Patrol has their parade marshal, John April. The director is Kyle Chisholm. And the patrol is followed by the clowns and also the Jerusalem Temple Clown Unit. This could be the past court of Caesar 2003. Approaching. You can see just some of the people who fill the stands here on Veterans and Causeway.
And of course, a good crowd. Just, you know, it's a little chilly, but boy, this is, you know, one of the biggest and the best in Jefferson Parish. So, you know, people don't want to miss this one.
The past court of Caesar 2003 has Empress Caesar 24, Ashley Morel, maids Casey Battaglia, Catherine DiMartini, and Lauren Guffins, Leslie LeBlanc, Jamie Monahan, Catherine Norman, Michelle Reese, and Kristen Salzer. The past court of Caesar.
And you know, these aren't kings and queens. This is the emperor and the empress, the past empress, because we're keeping with, it's not mythology here, we're keeping with history. And what this parade is all about, the crew of Caesar. So these are the past empresses and maids there. Now we have Destrehan, and that's another neat thing. You know, it allows people from all over to join in and be part of Mardi Gras and Carnival. And this is the Destrehan High School Air Force Junior ROTC. Band director Lieutenant Colonel Webb, instructors Lieutenant Colonel Milkey and Senior Master Sergeant Washington, and principal looks like Chipper Simon. And the Junior ROTC is represented tonight with our color guard, the saber team, the drill team, the regulation flight and drum line. Boy, they're impressive. The unit has over 250 cadets, and they received the Air Force Distinguished Unit Award last year.
Quite an honor.
Yes.
Quite an honor, something that Destrehan High School should be extremely proud of, and they are. Now look who it is, Karen Boudreaux and Clotilde, and some past royalty. This float features those lovable nutrients, Boudreaux and Clotilde, who bring joy to fans of all ages at Zephyr baseball games. Riding with them are some of the past empresses of Caesar: Kelly Mayer, Farrow, Erin Duffy Jordan, Rosalind Crackey, Robin Carnisi Oubre, Nancy Powell, and Kathleen Rupert.
And they're not throwing baseballs, of course. We wouldn't want to have any accidents, but of cups and Oh, look, somebody's getting a big bag of goodies, but cups and beads, no baseballs.
Yeah, but if you go to a Zephyr game, you can bet that Boudreaux and Clotilde will be there to make sure that you have a great time. And they have just captured the hearts of not only youth in New Orleans, but just about all baseball fans in New Orleans.
They're wonderful. And there's some of the past royalty. And, you know, they have a waiting list. It's amazing. You know, everybody wants to be the empress and maids in this crew because it's just a wonderful honor. I think until the year 2015, they have, you know, people on lists waiting to be the empress. They know who that's going to be because they're all clamoring. Oh,
your favorite float coming up.
Yes, this is the giant pineapple that's at the bottom of the sea that SpongeBob lives in next door to his friend Patrick. This is straight from Nickelodeon. SpongeBob SquarePants. There he is, that lovable sponge. Patrick right beside him. He's the starfish. And there's Dora the Explorer, and my daughter loves him.
This year marks the return of the Captain's Honor Guard, the marching soldiers, which made their first appearance in 1988. And of course, we have the Captain of Caesar. The captain represents all the branches of the military: the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, and the Marines. The silhouette of the United States highlights the top of the collar with USA outlined in red, white, and blue neon. The captain also is accompanied by his trusty leopard, Julius. The elaborate court costuming is done by Shirley and Anthony Colombo and Sherry Gio.
Oh, it's gorgeous. Look at that. And look at that USA theme there, the red, white, and blue. Just beautiful.
The captain of the crew of Caesar.
Right. I guess you can't say Hail Caesar to him because he's not the emperor, but you want to say that, you know. Here he is doing his toast.
Well, the captain of the crew of Caesar, Bob Cornisi, you heard him.
All that you and this crew do for Jefferson Parish, Hail Caesar. Thank you so much. Congratulations.
Jefferson Parish Councilwoman Jennifer Sneed. All right, so he wished all the women in the crowd happy Valentine's Day, his wife and family there, and of course some Jefferson Parish officials and new councilwoman Jennifer Sneed.
And I like the theme of the captain saluting all branches of the military, the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, and the Marines. And look at that.
I know, it's
wow. That costume made by Shirley and Anthony Colombo and Sherry Gio.
You see, Elvis would have really wanted something like that. Boy. He'd have been clamoring for that. That is just gorgeous.
With the headpiece, I might add.
Right.
Bob Cornisi says, let's roll.
Let's roll. He did say, you know, it was touch and go because, well, this afternoon it was pouring down. We did not know if we were going to have a clear night or not. So we've been very fortunate with that, but it was touch and go. And you know how these things go. You know, sometimes there's some last minute cancellations with groups saying, you know, we're not going to chance it. But And they've had their moments this evening, but he's saying, go, go, get me going.
It would have taken a lot to cancel a Caesar parade.
Right.
You know that if Bob Cornisi can roll this parade, he would roll it, and he has been blessed with this break in the weather.
All right, coming up, we have one of our first bands of the night.
This is the Archbishop Rummel High School Band.
This is band director Glenn Sherman with band leaders B.J. McCarter, Nick Campagno, Carrie Kuhn, and Ryan Benoit, Principal Michael Begg. The Archbishop Rummel Band is a co-educational effort with the Archbishop Chappelle High School. The unit is a traditional participant in the Caesar Parade, and there's I don't know how many years actually they have been doing it, but a number of years they've been part of this parade. And of
I believe they may have been here from the inception of the parade. One thing that they are extremely proud of, and that Caesar is also proud of. The Princes of Caesar. These are the princes to the Emperor. And this year they are Robert Campo, Trey Carnisi, Jonathan Crawford, Federico Diaz, Jonathan Erickson, Christopher Friendly Jr., Eric Florane, Austin Hart, Mark Henderson, Blaze Himbert, Adam Jones, Brian Keener, Brandon Menard, and Daniel Swear, the princes to the Emperor Caesar.
Nice looking group of young men having a good time there. They got some arms on them too, don't they?
Tossing
Look
some
at that.
stuff. As this parade is known to do, by the handsful.
And coming up, we have Caesar himself, Emperor Caesar 25, Randall Lewis. Hail Caesar. Isn't it? Look at that headdress. It's gorgeous.
Wow.
He represents all the might and majesty of Rome's greatest ruler, Julius Caesar. His elaborate collar features 3 large silver medallions highlighted with neon. They've got neon right in that headdress. The emperor was selected by blind draw at the coronation ball at the New Orleans Hilton, which is wonderful because that allows anybody. You never know who could become Caesar. It's wonderful.
Well, you've been waiting all night to say officially, Hail Caesar.
Hail Caesar. Hail Caesar.
Caesar will make his toast to the people of Jefferson Parish.
Bringing up the microphone to him there.
Yeah. See if we can pick it up.
Okay.
Parish Council, we declare Saturday, February 14th, Crew of Caesar Day, and we recognize Randall Lewis as Emperor, and we commend you for all that you do for Jefferson Parish, and have a great ride tonight, and thank you for your contribution.
Hail Caesar.
Well, thank you very much. We certainly appreciate all that Jefferson Parish has done for this organization. And I wish to thank Bob and Sylvia Cardisi, and also Shirley and Anthony Caruso, who built these beautiful floats. And I want to toast my wife, who's done a lot for keeping everything going straight. and may she live 1,000 years.
All right, the official toast from Caesar himself, and a declaration from the Jefferson Parish Council. Again, Councilwoman Jennifer Sneed. They're asking
Randall
if he
Lewis.
needs anything.
Maybe just a hand warmer.
Yeah.
Anthony and Shirley Colombo.
Oh, yeah. Forgot to thank them. I mean, that headdress is just gorgeous. Absolutely. And, you know,
What work.
you wonder how long it took them. Of course, they work on this parade all year. So this is something, and that's one of the reasons why he thanked his wife for putting up with all of this, because it is a year-long
Have a great
event.
ride tonight.
Randall Lewis, Emperor Caesar 25 in all his majesty.
What a special time to be emperor, on the silver anniversary of Caesar. And again, the carnival gods are smiling on us. You know, it's a little cold, but I think all the rain clouds have moved away. So I'm sure that people behind us are lining up. You know how they do. They check the weather, and the crowds will get thick as the route goes on.
As you look at Emperor Caesar 25, you will see his headdress decorated with so much silver for this 25th year anniversary of the crew.
There he goes, moving on.
As his ride continues. The Alfred Bonnabel High School Band, under the direction of Charles Hernandez. The principal of Bonnabel High School is Raymond Ferrand. Bonnabel has been marching in Caesar since the inception of this parade 25 years ago. Another high school very proud to be with this organization since the very beginning. And they are followed, Karen, by Empress Caesar the 25th.
Right, and she represents the beautiful and exotic Cleopatra, of course.
Well,
I think she's coming up behind this one. This looks like
this may be the officers of Caesar.
Got a little out of order here.
This float had a little problem a little earlier on the route, and they got up and rolling again. And the officers of Caesar are costumed in their traditional Roman-style tunic and cape.
Those are beautiful.
The president this year is Robert Stanley, who is also a charter member of Caesar, as well as one of the past emperors.
All right. Well, it's kind of appropriate. They come before the empress to protect her.
You better believe it.
Look at this. Look at the throws that they're all sorts of different stuff.
And you had talked earlier about signature throws from Caesar.
Right, haven't seen them yet. We're hoping we can snag a few so we can show them to you. But the Hydra doll, and of course they're throwing peanuts. Looks like that's what they've got right there. A couple of bags of peanuts that they're throwing at the crowd, and of course the big beads. All sorts of things flying off of that float. And every year it never ceases to amaze me what you can get. Every year people think of different things, unusual things to throw off these floats.
The evolution of throws from the early years to the present day is a story in itself.
All right, and of course every emperor has to have his empress, and this is Empress Caesar 25, Lauren Frances Zappardo. The Empress is the daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Peter Anthony Zappardo, and she represents, of course, the beautiful and exotic Cleopatra. Her shoulder piece features the Egyptian symbol of royalty, encrusted in sequins and rhinestones and highlighted in neon. Just gorgeous, absolutely. And again, it's keeping with the Roman theme here. Miss Zappardo attends LSU Nursing School. And princesses to Her Majesty are Becca Bourgeois, Chloe Bro, Stacy Conley, Nicole DeLeo, Brooke DeRoche, Amber Diodene, Caroline Dole, Eilish Duran, Lillian Fosho, Margaret Felger, Amanda Frischhertz, Alexis Harrington, Megan Hurl, Olivia Hochvar, Macy LeBlanc, Stephanie Meehan, Whitney Sprague, Allison Taylor, Amanda Taylor, and Lauren Wright.
Look at the headdress rather, as the neon comes through.
And it's wonderful because you can see it, especially in these night parades, to have the neon in the headdress. It really brings out the detail in these things. And of course, the detail is just phenomenal. And again, this is the work of
Anthony and Shirley Colombo and Sherry Gio, making Lawrence Frances Zappardo as beautiful as Cleopatra. And only Cleopatra could steal the heart of Caesar.
Right.
Ladies and gentlemen, float number 6, Empress Caesar 25, Miss Lauren Frances Zappardo. The Empress is the daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Peter Anthony
Oh, it's just
Zappardo.
beautiful. Here she is. She's gorgeous.
Adorned in silver on this 25th anniversary of the Caesar Parade.
She's saying hello to all of her loyal subjects. And they're throwing a lot of doubloons here, and that is the tricolored doubloons are a signature of Caesar.
And a collector's.
Yeah, absolutely.
Collector's edition for each Caesar and each Empress.
And all the princesses. Okay, I believe that she is going to toast as well and say a few words again to her loyal subjects here. So we'll take a listen.
On behalf of the Jefferson Parish Council, Saturday, February 14th is hereby declared Crew of Caesar Day, and Lauren Zappardo as Empress is commended, and we recognize all that you and the crew do for Jefferson Parish. Congratulations to you, and thank you for your contribution to Mardi Gras this year.
Hail Empress.
Yay!
Hail Empress.
Thank you. First of all, I would like to thank God that it finally stopped raining today and we were able to parade. I would also like to thank my mom and dad for their love and support, because without them, none of this would be possible. I would like to thank my nana, my grandpa, and my papa and my mama who's watching from above. I would like to thank Miss Sylvia and Mr. Bob Carnesi for all their hard work and effort that they put into this organization. I would like to thank the Columbos for their beautiful costumes. Every year they just seem to outdo each other. I would like to thank my wonderful king, who I've been truly honored and blessed to have such a wonderful king to parade with this year. I would also like to thank Jefferson Parish for letting us parade tonight. Thank you.
Hail Empress.
Hail Empress. There you have it. She's having a wonderful ride.
And we echo her sentiments for thanking God for stopping the rain and allowing this parade to roll as scheduled.
Absolutely. It sure seems he had a hand in it, especially earlier this afternoon when it was pouring. We thought we would not have this parade possibly tonight. So this is terrific.
Karen, as you look at the Empress costume and the headdress, every time I see the Columbos, I ask them, how on earth will you top next year what you've done this year? And they look at me with those raised eyebrows, and I don't know. And every year they top the costumes from the previous year with the organizations they work with, especially here in Caesar.
It is truly an art, and they are artisans, and they find inspiration in many different ways. But it is one of the things that has come about lately is, you know, the fiber optics too, and utilizing that in these headdresses, and that's been kind of a new thing that we've been seeing. But they're just artists. They really are.
And they love their work. And after Mardi Gras, they take just a little while off, and they're right back at it.
Absolutely. They've got to start
Lent.
planning.
Yes.
Yeah.
Through
For
Lent,
next
they
year.
take a few days off, a few weeks off, and then they're already working on the costumes for Mardi Gras 2005. As a matter of fact, it's going to be a very early Mardi Gras next year, 2005.
What is it? It's February 8th?
I believe it is.
It's
I believe February 8th.
That is early. So we will definitely have to look forward probably to a little bit of cold weather next year as well. But they're saying next weekend it's going to warm up. So it's so typical Mardi Gras. You know, you could have one parade cold, and then next week it's warm again. And there she goes, Empress 25, Lauren Francis Zappardo, continuing her ride. And now we have
the Bonneville High School Air Force Junior ROTC precedes the Maids of Caesar. We saw the Bonneville Bruin Band earlier. And this is their Air Force Junior ROTC, under the direction of Major Riley Cooper. The principal is Raymond Ferrand. And this unit includes a color guard and drill team, which have won numerous awards. They've won numerous drill competitions also throughout Louisiana and the Gulf Coast.
Oh, here we go. More gorge. Oh, it's amazing. Now, absolutely, this just looks 3D. Looks three-dimensional here. These are the maids. Float number 7. Noah and his ark, and birds and their cages. So we have Noah and his ark in the front, and then the birds in the cages. Obviously, the woman in the darker headdress there. And this is a neon rainbow highlights the color of Miss Helfrich's Noah and his ark headdress, which is in the front there. We said a large ark that is surrounded by animals climbing aboard. Wonderful. And Miss Helfrich is a sophomore at Chappelle High School. And Miss Cooper behind her represents birds and their cages. There she is waving at the crowd. Gold neon highlights the cage at the top of her collar, aside many colorful feathered friends. She's a junior at Dominican High School.
The maids, clowns and the circus, and Jeanette McDonald and Nelson Eddy singing the Indian Love Call. Miss Lapiade represents two things that naturally go together, clowns and the circus. The big top is featured on the top of her collar, along with the two colorful clowns holding balloons, which are highlighted with animated Leon. Miss Morgan represented the famous duo of Jeanette McDonald and Nelson Eddy. They were meant for each other with their famous song, The Indian Love Call. And here is the Archbishop Chappelle cheerleaders and high steppers.
Right, the directors of this group are Aaron Alfonso and Barbara Landry. Also director Stacy Woodward. Principal there at Archbishop Chappelle is Mary Beth Drez. 75 girls strong. The Archbishop Chappelle cheerleaders and high steppers support their school teams, and they promote school spirit, of course. They perform at all school games, they run school pep rallies, and they enter in local competitions. The cheerleaders are coached by Aaron Alfonso, who is a former Empress of Caesar. How wonderful. Some more maids, Mardi Gras in New Orleans, and grapes and wine. It's wonderful. And Miss Trosclair represents Mardi Gras and New Orleans. You see in the front there, you see the Mardi Gras mats, two things obviously that are meant for each other, truly meant for each other. Traditional colors of purple, green, and gold featured on her collar, along with a large crown and highlights of gold neon. She is a sophomore at Mount Carmel Academy. Now behind her, Miss Armator represents grapes and wine, and her collar features large clusters of grapes, and of course the drink of choice at many celebrations highlighted in neon. Miss Armator is a junior at Mount Carmel Academy as well. There you see the grapes.
Again, just beautiful, beautiful costumes.
They are just glittering, aren't they? Gorgeous.
And they are followed by the maids representing the fish and the sea, and Samson and Delilah. Miss Patel represents the fish and the sea. Dolphins jumping in the waves adorn the top of the collar with highlights of neon and colorful fish, and coral are featured on the bottom. She's a junior at St. Martin's Episcopal. Miss Schick represents Samson and Delilah. The mighty Samson holding up the columns is featured at the top of the collar, and that's highlighted in neon. Samson and Delilah and Ms. Schick. And as you watch the maids go by, the crew of Caesar would again like to thank Anthony and Shirley Colombo and Sherry Gio for the beautiful court costumes we have just seen. Caesar is honored to have had them as their costume designers for the past 25 years, since the organization's inception.
They are such an integral part of the crew of Caesar, and having been there for 25 years, they're just as much a part of Caesar as Caesar, really.
There's Samson holding up the columns on Ms. Schick's outfit.
And you can see the three dimension of the jars below him. They're just gorgeous. This is, we're moving along now to the Ponchatoula High School Marching Band in Color Guard. From across the lake, Ponchatoula's band director Ted Forrest, the principal Cindy Foster, drum major Katie Bell, guard captain Joyce Richardson.
Now the Art Rider Jazz Band follows Ponchatoula High School. The director, naturally, Art Rider. Art Rider participates in all major parades. Now, they were very proud that they participated in the 1984 World's Fair. They've been riding with Caesar since its inception 25 years ago. The Art Rider Jazz Band.
Oh, that's just one of the things that makes this so wonderful. Some things change, but some things stay the same. And things like the Art Rider Band being with them since the inception. And now we're looking at the title float, I believe.
Let's see, because one or two floats may have gotten out of order here, but this is supposed to be the title float.
And the theme for this year is meant for each other. That's why we're going to have the Samson and Delilah and the sea and the fish, things that go together and are meant for each other.
On Valentine's Day.
Valentine's Day is really very, very
2004.
appropriate.
The float this year represents all things that go together. The float lieutenants are John Hope and Alexander Dupuy Jr.
So again, that is the title float, meant for each other. And they are getting into it, aren't they?
This is a throw-in parade.
Hello. Happy Mardi Gras.
This is the Andrew Jackson Magnet School from Chalmette, Louisiana. Andrew Jackson High School Marching Band. The marching colonels of Andrew Jackson High School in Chalmette is followed by the New Orleans Hornets. Now, the city
great.
wanted pro basketball back, and the Hornets wanted a great city to play in. What could be better than New Orleans for the Hornets in the NBA? Hugo the Hornet overlooks the crowd from the front of the float. The neon basketball, the float lieutenant is Mike Hill, and just recently in the Times-Picayune newspaper, owner George Shen was talking about how much and how happy he is that the city, the fans, the business community has embraced the Hornets so in New Orleans.
And I'm wondering how many people might be from the Hornets organization and on this float and moving here from North Carolina and perhaps in riding for their very first time. What an experience.
They'll never go back.
Absolutely.
One ride in New Orleans, and this is where you want to live.
I also heard an ad today that they're looking for what they're going to call the bumblebees, some rather portly gentlemen that they want to hook up with the honeybees and dance and do some things. That should be a blast to watch. They're going to audition some guys to kind of join the honeybees and dance with them.
Well, every
Should be a lot
NBA
of
game
fun.
itself is a show in itself.
Oh,
Besides
yeah.
the game, there's a show going on inside the arena. There's the basketball game, and of course, bringing back Tim Floyd as the head coach this year had everybody excited about Hornets basketball because he's the favorite here in the New Orleans area. Now, here's the De La Salle Cavaliers, Karen.
And this group is directed by Joel Dorman. The principal there at De La Salle is Gina Hall. The band is traveling to Dallas for the Festival in the Parks competition and will also be competing in 3 marching festivals. The De La Salle band has been marching with the crew for the past 25 years. That's so incredible. Again, you know, while some things change, like the new floats that they bring out every year and the new throws, some things stay the same, and that's the way it should be.
Well, as Cavalier Pride marches down the street, you see Mickey and Minnie behind it. And my first, I think, real remembrance of this organization was when Bob Cornisi made his first contacts in the early 90s with the Disney organization and had an entire parade dedicated to Mickey and Minnie, the famous duo from Disney World. They're back. They're a staple. Almost every year they're featured on the front of this float, and the float lieutenants are Carrie Oubre and Rick Sochet.
And they really do go along with the theme meant with each other. You know, Mickey and Minnie. You know, you can't go wrong there. They
Can't
are
have one
truly
without
meant
the
for
other,
each
can
other.
you?
That's right.
You know, back in that first Mardi Gras parade with Disney that was dedicated to Disney, the Disney people actually came down to look at the way the Columbos did the outfits and the headdresses and what was being used to hold the headdresses and the headpieces on the maids and the kings and the queens and the dukes. And Bob Cornisi, the crew of Caesar, and Disney have had a close relationship ever since. I believe they share a few secrets.
I bet
I'd like to tell you what they are, but they're secrets we don't even know. Bob won't
They do.
tell.
Well, you know, Disney puts on quite a few parades of its own, and certainly getting some trade secrets from the parade capital of the world here doesn't hurt.
Why are the costumers dressed as Minnie throwing further and harder than the costumers dressed as Mickey?
Steroids. No.
There's a Minnie.
There we go.
They're emptying some bead racks on these floats early
Yes.
in this parade. They are tossing to the crowd.
You know, and they're so happy to see the people out on a night like this too. And you know, it's a little chilly, it's a little windy, but it's a beautiful night. All right, now we have the Grace King Fighting Irish Band.
They are under the direction of Lewis Jackson. The principal is Alex Taliokas.
And there's their little mascot out front, the little leprechaun.
The Grace King Fighting Irish Band. Every
this is
little boy
nice.
growing up played cowboys and Indians at some time, Karen, and that's the
Some
theme
little
of this
girls,
next
too.
float.
Yeah.
Did you play cowboys
Yes, I
and
did.
Indians? Were you Dale
In the
Evans?
Army. No, I was Chuck Connors, actually, the rifleman.
The float lieutenant is Bobby Template.
That's neat. They have the cowboy looking in one direction, the Indian looking in the other. Oh, and these guys are throwing.
Get the net.
All right, we're going to send Tony over to see what we can get, and we want to take a look at some of the signature throws and see if we can get one of the Hydra dolls. All right, we have the St. Mary's Dominican High School Band and Debs following up here.
St. Mary's Dominican High School. And they are followed by float number 15, Peanut Butter and Jelly.
And that does go together so well.
At Mr. Peanut, right? Mr. Planter Peanut.
I love that. Look at his fiber optic eye glass there, and his hat, and it's just so well done. It's beautiful.
Now, when you were a youngster, a young child, a young kid, could you live without peanut butter and jelly?
Nope. Only my daughter will only eat peanut butter. She won't eat the jelly.
She won't eat the jelly.
I can't understand that, but I can't. You know, she loves that peanut butter sandwich, no jelly. Hold the jelly. Look at it. It says Mr. Peanut.
The Planters Peanut Man was holding his jar of grape jelly overlooking the crowd on the front of the float. The float lieutenant is Hank Dole.
I wonder if they're throwing any peanut butter and jelly sandwiches there. Well, I bet they're throwing bags of peanuts anyway.
If it's
We
warm
know
peanut
that's
butter
one.
and jelly, we might eat one.
Yeah, we might.
Mr. Peanut.
That's cute. Having a good time tonight. Look at that. Woo!
The Marching Pride of Riverside, under the directorship of Allison Distel. The principal is Bridget Sinibaldi. Let's listen to the Pride of Riverside.
And it's amazing when you think about how Mardi Gras and Carnival has grown. $1 billion economic impact on an annual basis in the greater New Orleans area. That's incredible. And you think, you know, some of these riders just spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars for the greatest free show on earth, all for us to enjoy.
You're being conservative at hundreds and hundreds.
Yes, I know, some of them thousands of. I think they did estimate at one time that if you average things out, that probably the average that a crew member spends is about $500.
A king, an emperor, could easily, in the course of a year, spend over $30,000.
Okay, this is float number 23.
Napoleon and Josephine.
The French Emperor Napoleon and his companion Josephine. Of course, two that had to go together, meant to be together, Napoleon and Josephine. The float lieutenants are Sal Gambino and Lyle Lambert.
Well, as Napoleon is with Josephine and Mickey is with Minnie, I guess you could say Sylvester is with Tweety.
Still after that bird. Look at that.
This float represents that inseparable pair, Sylvester the cat and Tweety Bird. Whenever you see Tweety, you know Sylvester's right behind, trying to catch him somewhere, trying to catch him for dinner. The float lieutenant here is Harry Glidden.
And it's wonderful because Sylvester and Tweety have been around so long, and you know, I remember them watching them when I was a kid, and now my daughter knows all about Sylvester and Tweety. They're still on TV, so they still resonate with young and old. All right, this is the Meisler Middle School, Mighty Chief Band and Auxiliary. The director is Charmaine Desmorais, Principal Glenn Fallon. Meisler is the largest middle school in Jefferson Parish with over 1,200 students. That is big, as well as the largest and most active band. The band performs over 30 times a year, and you can bet a good portion of that is at Mardi Gras time.
Next up is the LSU mascot and cheerleaders. The crew of Caesar is proud to have as part of tonight's parade the national champion LSU Tiger mascot and cheerleaders. They are leading the way for one of the most popular floats in the parade, which is going to be purple and gold coming up. But those cheerleaders had a lot to be happy about, Karen, this year with LSU winning the BCS National Championship. And here's float 17, purple and gold.
And look at that big tiger on the front.
That's what runs through the veins of many Louisianians, purple and gold. What could be meant to go together more than the colors of the national champion LSU Tigers? The float lieutenants are Brian DeLeo and Tim Bonatempo. You know, purple and gold are two of the...
And you got your Mardi Gras colors, don't you?
Purple means justice, gold means power. And LSU's dominant color is gold, and I think that they showed the power of the LSU athletic program, the Southeastern Conference,
and look at
the power
go.
of them nationally. Followed by Abdul and the Tent Makers with Al Dotkan, the director. That's Abdul himself. Abdul and the Tent Makers are a 5-member band from Marrero.
All right, here's another thing that goes together. Noah and his ark, meant for each other. Yes, float number 18. Noah, holding the famous messenger of dry land, the dove, overlooks the front of this float while the animals from the ark adorn the sides. The float lieutenants are Robert Anzalone and Lewis Frost. And there are the zebras. They're all dressed as animals on the float as well. And looks like some tigers and zebras there.
And they're in pairs.
And they're, of course, that's too cute, of course. The dance connection.
They see Karen and they toss. Director Robbie Ganeshow in charge of the Dance Connection. The Dance Connection is a very special events dance team. To celebrate their 25th anniversary, they invited alumni members to perform with them this Mardi Gras parade season. The Dance Connection has marched with Caesar since the inception of this organization 25 years ago. Now under the direction of Robbie Ganeshow, the Dance Connection.
Oh, look at them. I bet there are a lot of mother and daughters dancing together in this.
There are. I can remember 25 years ago when they started as a dance team and how they would perform at various places where football or any sports stars would be appearing, and get out there and bring a lot of fun to different events.
They are very good, aren't they?
There's the alumni. Back to dance with the team. They're excellent. Excellent
They
dance
are.
team.
Look at this.
This group was so popular back in the early days, they used to put out their own dance calendar, featuring all the girls on the calendar in different dance routines and dance steps.
There it is. Ooh, look at the heads move.
Wow.
That is exciting. The signature float is, of course, a brand new addition to the Caesar fleet. It consists of 2 floats, actually, featuring fiber optics, rope lighting, animation, and other special effects. Look at those heads moving up and down there. Those are scary looking, but they're beautiful. A 3-headed animated Hydra, which is a dragon of sorts.
And a mean-looking one at that.
Yeah, it's a little scary looking, but it's exciting. It's really gorgeous, too. The float lieutenants are John Hildebrand, Chuck Neely, and Daryl Farrow. And again, this is actually 2 floats.
I'm not sure
And
if television, if the picture on your screen
Yeah,
is going
it's
to do
kind of-
this float justice. You
It is
almost
gorgeous.
have to
Look at
see
the
it.
eyes. They're sparkling, full of fiber optics, and you know, the scales down their backs. It's just gorgeous. And I love it that, you know, the movement. I mean, this float's got it all. And 75 riders.
Wow.
That is incredible. So it looks like the Hydra weaves his body through to the second float, where his tail is going to end up coming out the back. And I see another head on the second part of the float there. So
Wouldn't want to meet that in the boat or on the land.
it is
Sound
so
effects.
colorful. Oh, sound effects too. It's
Hear
lovely.
the roar
This
of
is
the Hydra.
definitely a crowd pleaser, and this is something. Oh, there it is. I'm waiting for the fire to come out of their mouth now. They're just so amazing. Oh, look at that.
Look at the eyes,
The teeth.
the teeth, the fiber optics involved, the color and the light of this big signature float. This is the West Jefferson High School Band. The director is Keziah Brinson. The principal of West Jeff is Leo Greer. This band has grown in the past 2 years from a 40-member band to a 120-member unit. And the expected goal for this band, they want to eventually grow into a 200 marching unit.
Well, we've got our next float coming up now.
And this is Goldilocks and the Three Bears.
She's holding her porridge, overlooking the crowd from the front of this float, while those 3 little bears look on, those hungry bears wanting their porridge. The float lieutenant is John Ladd.
I'm not one of the 3 bears, but it's chilling enough as high as we sit above this tower. If she'd like to share some of that warm porridge.
Warm porridge, that would be lovely.
What is porridge?
I think of it as like cream of wheat.
That's
You
what I
ever
thought
used to
it
eat
was.
cream
Yeah,
of
oh, I
wheat?
loved
Kind
it.
of, you know, it's a kind of oatmeal-y cream of wheat.
Oatmeal cream of wheat. I
Kind
like
of
it.
thing.
And that's why Goldilocks is smiling. She's got her own porridge, but she's also eating it, keeping just a little warm on this brisk night. It's not
Staying
bad in here.
just one step ahead of the bears behind her, throwing all the trinkets. And again, this is a part of the famous pairs, Goldilocks and the 3 bears, meant to be together.
Don't quite see that as
Meant
the
for each other.
Valentines meant for each other that some of the other pairs have been,
some
but
of the
they
Minnie
are
and
pairs.
Mickey, but certainly they do go together.
Well, we could match Mama Bear and Papa Bear, and
There
then
you
Baby
go.
Bear with Goldilocks. Here's the Archbishop Hannon High School Hawk Band cheerleaders and the Kicking Hawkettes. The director is Anthony Miller. The principal of Archbishop Hannon, John Sirio. The Hawk Band hails from Merrill, Louisiana. The band is accompanied by the Hawk cheerleaders under the supervision of Antoinette Dallin, and the dance team is directed by Paula Puglisi. I'm proud to say my daughter, Michelle, is an Archbishop Hannon alum and an Archbishop Hannon Hawkette alum.
Okay.
They have won many awards in the past with the Hawkette dance team. Now here comes one of my favorites, the big crawfish. This float depicts crawfish and beer.
And what goes better with a big pile of boiled crawfish than a nice cold beer? Well, except not on a night like tonight. I'd rather have a cup of coffee. But our next float features the giant crawfish holding his favorite can of beer overlooking the crowd. The float lieutenant is Gary Heffrich. But I'll tell you what, it won't be long before we're eating a eating those crawfish and drinking the beer.
Oh, I'm ready to boil crawfish.
Yes, look, did you see their SpongeBob? Now that is a coveted prize there. Did you see that kid get a big SpongeBob? All right.
This is a throw-in parade.
They aim to please. The Ramblers here now, directed by David Lapouille. The Ramblers have been a New Orleans tradition since 1983, and the director is a member of Caesar as well as the father of one of tonight's maids. Keeping it all in the family there. I think this is the Scotland Magnet High School Marching Band from Baton Rouge. Yes.
Yes, that's what it is. Get a closer look there, but this is the Scotlandville Magnet High School Marching Band from, as you said, Baton Rouge.
Baton Rouge.
Look at the Naval Reserve Recruiting Unit, and I like their float.
It's nice. It kind of looks like a pirate ship.
Followed by Stars and Stripes. The next float is a tandem float depicting the USA's Stars and Stripes. The float lieutenants are Donald Puig, Michael Jameson, and A. Allen Haley.
And of course, Stars and Stripes are meant for each other.
You didn't miss that point. I'm proud of you.
Beautiful patriotic float. And again, this is, you know, like about the size of the Hydra. It's a tandem float too. Probably roughly some 70 riders on this one as well. And they seem to really have such a good time on these tandem floats. They're just, it's like a big party. All right, and the gold dusters, and I love it, the lighted batons here are wonderful. The director is Deborah Still, the co-directors Shala James, co-captain Shannon Von Hoven, and Vicki Davis. Now, the Gold Dusters were established in 1983. The team practices twice a week at Softly Dance Academy in Kenner. And of course, don't try this lighted batons at home, folks, because these girls are pros at this. They've won many first place awards for dance and precision in several parades, and the Gold Dusters also perform in the Kenner Christmas Village, and the members compete in several competitions throughout the state.
I'll take your advice. I won't try the lighted batons anywhere, at home or anywhere else. Well, here's two that definitely go together. Sonny and Cher, the famous singing duo from the 70s. Sonny and Cher is the theme of this float. The float lieutenants, rather, or the float lieutenant is Buddy LaRocca. Sonny and Cher. Pretty good depiction of Cher. They probably have about as much plastic
as she does
on that float. Yeah, on that float. That plastic Cher probably has less plastic than the real thing.
Having a good time on that float, aren't they? I'm trying to figure out what they're dressed. Like I said, they're dressed kind of like Cher with the long hair, and some of them are dressed as Sonny with the short hair. Now we're looking at Old MacDonald and his farm. Old MacDonald and his farm.
Oh.
Of course, he's there. I don't remember Old MacDonald having a pitchfork, but I'm sure he had one on his farm.
What would Old MacDonald do without his animals? The farmer himself adorns the front of the float, and all his barnyard friends, they're featured on the sides of this float. The float lieutenants are Guy Bourgeois and Jack Jensen Jr. And there's the farmer.
And their straw hats and their overalls. I'm not surprised we don't see any little pigs and cows. They're all dressed as Old MacDonald there.
I'm glad they kept the little farm animals on the side of the float and not inside. Probably the riders are too when you think about it.
Yeah, they didn't have to dress as pigs and cows. And this is Renee Bourne and All That Jazz. And of course, the director is Renee Bourne. She's a Jefferson Parish school teacher who's performed for many years in Metairie and New Orleans parades. Currently, she is a percussionist with Reggie Hall and the Twilighters.
Well, on Valentine's Day, who better than to be together than Kermit and Miss Piggy? It's not easy being green, especially when you always have a pig chasing after you, but Kermit and Miss Piggy is the theme of this float. The float lieutenants are Eric Rizicki and James Rosado.
And there are a bunch of Kermits throwing away. And I'm seeing, I think I see a Miss Piggy. Let's see if we can we can catch her. You know, she's on the front in, you know, that sculpted form, but there's, see, right to the left of your screen there she is. She's throwing. She's got an arm on her too. I love the little red on their mouths there. They're
That is,
just like Kermit's mouth.
wow, just like Kermit.
And there's Miss Piggy again. Take a look. She's she's got a cigar in her mouth. There's Miss Piggy, you have a mustache. She looks like Groucho Marx trying to be Miss Piggy.
Yeah.
And they are throwing away.
Very well decorated float. Great costumes. Junior and the Swamp Pop players. Junior and the Swamp Pop players is a very versatile band of musicians whose specialty is swamp pop music. They also play hits from the 50s all the way to current music of the day. King Arthur and Guinevere, the legendary pair from Camelot, Karen, on Valentine's Day.
Yes, King Arthur and Guinevere overlooking the crowd from this float. And the float lieutenant here is Brian Landry. Another gorgeous float. And look at those riders just having a ball. I don't think they're pacing themselves. I think they're just saying, I'm throwing. I'm just going for it.
When they get to this reviewing area, they not only unload, well, they unload all along the route.
They do.
You know they throw just a little bit extra and a little bit more special.
That's right. They know this is coming up, so they... Yay, look at that.
Give me some. Yeah. King Arthur and Guinevere.
And they are bringing up the rear of this parade. We've only got a couple more floats, couple more units here. All right, this is the Regal Brass Band.
The Regal Brass Band was formed over 20 years ago. It brings a combination of traditional New Orleans jazz, funky neighborhood sounds, soulful spirituals, and pop standards to the people of New Orleans. They're having some fun. And they're followed by Bonnie and Clyde. The famous gangster duo of Bonnie and Clyde is represented by this float. Bonnie and Clyde and their getaway car overlook the crowd from the front of the float. There's the getaway car, and Bonnie leaning out one side, Clyde the other. The float lieutenant is Ryan Beecher.
That's really well done. That's really well done. The guys having a really good time. Little good-looking gangsters there they are.
And Bonnie and Clyde will be followed by
Float
the
number
last
22.
float unit in the parade.
And that is Cafe au lait and beignets. You know, that's perfect. What a perfect ending. That would be a wonderful thing to have right now. Say, okay, I've seen the parade now. Let me have some nice hot coffee and beignets. And that's how we're going to end things up here tonight. They are definitely two things that every tourist wants to try when they come to New Orleans. Cafe au lait and beignets from Cafe du Monde. And the float lieutenants on this float are Henry Nellig and Ben Lampo III. They take care of the kids too. Something for everybody. SpongeBob, SquarePants, Dora, Mickey, and Minnie. They bring back so many things year after year that we've grown to know and love, and it's wonderful to see the new things like Hydra, but certainly Caesar never disappoints, and we're so happy to have been a part of it this year.
We hope you've had a great parade, a happy Valentine's Day, and Karen Boudry, I've enjoyed working with you and our crew
wonderful.
on this. This has been a lot of fun.
Got to show you one more time that one of the signature throws, meant for each other, 2004, now going into the history books, a collector's item on this Valentine's Day. We wish you a happy, happy Valentine's Day, wonderful night, and happy Mardi Gras, everybody.
I want to thank Bob Cornisi and his crew, the crew of Caesar, for this wonderful parade tonight. Have a very happy Valentine's Day. Have a safe carnival season and a happy Mardi Gras Day.
Good night.